Darcy, I mean, and I want everyone to talk about this in terms of what I think is the biggest issue here, which is scale. Darcy, maybe you can give us a feeling for what your issues are in terms of the size of your audiences, and what the volume of your events is, just to give people sort of an idea.
Yeah, I mean, I guess scales in a bunch of buckets, but as far as in total number of interested people, we try, everybody has to have the same network, because we don't know if they're going to bid at any point in time, or be in the fantasy bid, or just be a viewer. So we have a low latency network that's global, and everybody gets it. So you get a great experience no matter if you're just a viewer or a participant. But that doesn't necessarily finish the scale, because we also have to have the ability to transact. So we have to have e-commerce in real time layered on that. We're now doing augmented reality. You start getting into web AR, now you got to figure out how to overlay that in real time. So the scale really, I think, is about the experience. I don't think the reach for us is a problem anymore. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, as you know, Chris, and I think we conquered reach and scale a while ago, but that was just for one way, or kind of a push. Now it's interactive, so there's definitely pressure on the network, and
Right.
We don't have a single point of failure. We've got 4 networks at any point in time that all have to serve a certain parts of our experience. You have to have a multi-vendor approach. The greatest networks in the world just don't get you everywhere where there's a buyer. And we have people in Middle East, we've got people in Asia, Australia. I mean, they're all in that event, and they're all wanting to buy that object that's a collector car. So it's these new things, really, the gamification, that's going to create the biggest stress for us, especially when they're web objects and they're coming from some obscure place, or even if it's not obscure, it just has to be a common experience. And that's really where it is common for us. It's frame by frame, frame accurate, and nothing falls off. And if it does, it's not on the table for us to develop, at least on our main events. Now, we also have an online auction company that sells cars every day, and that's where we cut our teeth. We try and push the boundaries of that, because we can make decisions about those people. They're not buying $1 million cars, they're buying different vehicles. Not that they're not important, but when somebody's trying to hook up on a $10 million Batmobile and they're in Australia, they're the number one candidate to stay on air.
Always the Aussies, and it's Peter Jackson. It's Peter Jackson, right? He's a Warner Brothers guy. It's just he's just never sleeps. But I think that's we're seeing, and it's just a function of the evolution of technology. Yes, the pandemic helped accelerate some of it, but things like watch parties. I mean, you see this obviously in sports. I think it's going to find its way into other domains. But Oliver, I mean, when it comes to the global scalability, we used to talk about points of presence and CDNs, and but you're getting into some very fine slices of the ULL, ultra low latency sort of spectrum. Give us, you don't need to mention the customer name, obviously, but in the situation where just even the area that they're in, but give us some sort of highlights recently of some hero projects that you've had, just to give people an idea of what you guys are up to.
Yeah, absolutely. As Darcy was mentioning, the audience is everywhere now, all around the world. So we have customers from South America streaming to Southeast Asia and the other way around. And that's for 24/7 operation things, and in the enterprise space as well. So people wanting to join their whole employee space from Europe to all around the world. So that's given, and everyone expects having engaging audiences then to enable interaction with kind of polls, voting, etc., or even buying things like in the auctioning space. And I still see a difference somehow between the OTT space, when you have that lean back experience, large screens on a TV, like Premier League or NFL sports, and the interactive things, where you also have a completely different user experience and user front end, user interface, and also the audience is more specific, dedicated to this use case. So usually our customers have this large audience in kind of traditional OTT space, and then specific dedicated audiences for the gaming content, gamified content, who does then betting or purchasing or whatever things in the entertainment space.
Right. I mean, obviously Twitch has been, and of course, has acquired many years ago now by Amazon. But Twitch has kind of sort of shown the way for what you can do with that size of global network, and basically layering in different experiences, which is to me just fascinating.